Mr. Speaker, sir, it is with a sense of satisfaction that I take the floor to intervene on the Appropriation Bill 2022-2023. Once again, despite the unprecedented crisis hitting the world and our country due to the consequences of the COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war, this government has presented a national budget that is strongly anchored in the sacrosanct philosophy of putting people first. That has been the guiding principle of the government and the MSM since 1983. Having said that, I commend the Minister of Finance, who has, despite the odds, managed to live up to the expectations of the population and other stakeholders of our socio-economic landscape. I also seize this opportunity to congratulate the Minister of Finance, who has been declared as winner of the African Finance Minister of the Year. By the African Leadership Organization. Mr. Speaker, sir, the comments following the presentation of the 2022-2023 budget speak volumes of the positive response to the measures that have been announced. Permettez-moi, Monsieur le Président, de mentionner quelques réactions de nos partenaires sociaux. Satyadev Tanga de l'Association pour la protection de l'environnement et des consommateurs. Je cite: un budget qui réconforte la grande majorité, des mesures fortes louables pour rétablir le pouvoir d'achat. Mossadegh Sahebdin, porte-parole de la Consumer Advocacy Platform. Je cite: les mesures budgétaires contribueront certainement à améliorer le pouvoir d'achat des consommateurs. Business Mauritius. Le budget a un fort axe social ainsi que plusieurs mesures préconisées pour la communauté des affaires. Des mesures positives en faveur de la sécurité alimentaire et de l'énergie renouvelable. Plus de jeunes et de femmes seront encouragés à rejoindre le marché du travail. Mauritius Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Plusieurs recommandations clés de la MCCI ont été retenues et nous accueillons favorablement les mesures pour les plus vulnérables. L'Association of Mauritian Manufacturers, les mesures pour la transition énergétique permettront aux industries de produire leurs électricités. Le Regional Feeder Vessel permettra d'étendre la production de l'industrie locale à la région d'Afrique. L'Association des hôteliers et restaurateurs de l'île Maurice. Nous partageons l'optimisme du ministre des Finances par rapport à l'objectif de 1,4 million de touristes. Nous accueillons positivement l'annonce d'un plan d'action sur 10 ans. La Chambre d'agriculture de Maurice. On prend note des mesures en faveur de la sécurité alimentaire, de la production locale, de même que les mesures pour contenir le coût du fret et les subventions pour acheter des fertilisants. En ce qui concerne le sucre, on note les mesures qui permettront l'investissement dans les terres abandonnées. La Building and Civil Engineering Contractors Association. La mesure de réintroduction du Margin of Preferences pour les entreprises locales apporte une bouffée d'oxygène. L'Outsourcing and Telecommunications Association of Mauritius. Il est intéressant de noter la mise sur pied d'une Digital Industries Academy pour la formation des jeunes. Mauritius Export Association. C'est un budget positif, aligné à nos attentes et nos stratégies. Nous notons certaines mesures particulières, dont la transition énergétique, car nos clients demandent que notre industrie soit durable à terme. Le Regional Feeder Vessel permettra de mettre en place une industrie textile sophistiquée et forte pour l'exportation de la région. Mauritius Bankers Association. On accueille les mesures d'intégration du global business et du marché domestique, de même que les mesures pour combattre les crimes financiers et la stratégie de digitalisation du service public qui aidera à faciliter l'adoption du paiement digital. Insurers Association of Mauritius. Les mesures de réforme de la pension représentent une continuité importante. Clearly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget has been widely acclaimed, unlike what the opposition wants to make believe. The people of this country, in their vast majority, have at least acknowledged the efforts put in by my government to continue supporting them in these difficult times and build present and future resilience. What matters most for us in government is the genuine feeling and appreciation of the people that no demagogy or false propaganda can alter. Mr. Speaker, sir, government was faced with three major challenges while preparing this budget. First, protecting the purchasing power of the population. Second, catalyzing the economic recovery. And third, addressing food and energy security imperatives that have become most pertinent, with lessons learned from the vulnerabilities we are facing with soaring food commodity and fuel prices triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ukrainian war, and of course also climate change. The Minister of Finance has addressed all three issues in a comprehensive and caring manner. Not a single category of people or sector has been left unattended in the budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, in government since 2014, we have consistently given attention to the purchasing power of the population. I need to recall that between December 2014 and end June 2020, we had put additional revenue of nearly 115 billion rupees in the pockets of households. Thus increasing the purchasing power in an unprecedented manner. We have systematically paid salary compensation above the rate of inflation. On top of that, since COVID-19 struck our republic, we have provided more than 27 billion rupees to save lives and safeguard livelihoods. When food commodity prices escalated following the Russia-Ukraine war, this government provided an additional 1.5 billion rupees as subsidies to maintain the prices of most consumed items at affordable levels. And with this budget, an additional 12 billion rupees is earmarked to support the population, especially those at the lower rungs of the social ladder and the middle class. Mr. Speaker, sir, in every budget I had presented as Minister of Finance, all budgets presented under my leadership, there is one common thread, and that is our constant quest to come up with measures and initiatives that aim at improving the quality of life and advancement of our fellow citizens and the country. When I introduced the subsistence allowance, the negative income tax, and the minimum wage, I was guided by our socialist vision to promote an inclusive society where our most vulnerable brothers and sisters get the consideration they deserve. That same consideration was central to our decision to increase the basic retirement pension to 5,000 rupees in 2014, 9,000 rupees in 2019, and 10,000 rupees as from 1st of July 2018. And with this budget, the Minister of Finance has come up with yet other measures that again go in line with our belief that our people must remain our priority both in good and hard times. Mr. Speaker, sir, many were those in the opposition who criticized the setting up of the contribution sociale généralisée. But today, with the measures announced to support the purchasing power of the population that will be funded from the CSG, the nation can see that my government acted responsibly and with foresight. The CSG has made it possible in these particularly hard times to provide to some 350,000 workers and employees a monthly allowance of 1,000 rupees. The CSG has also made it possible to provide an additional 1,000 rupees to 169,000 senior citizens aged 65 or above, in addition to the 10,000 rupees they will be getting in terms of basic retirement pension. These measures testify once again that we shall never forget our senior citizens who have contributed immensely to make Mauritius what it is today. Mr. Speaker, sir, the pensioners have seen their pension increase by some 45% between December 2019 and December 2021, while the inflation rate during that same period was around 6.5%. This represents an improvement of some 38.5% in the real purchasing power of the pensioners. And this year, by adding another 1,000 rupees to the pension for those between 60 and 65, we are in fact increasing their pension by a total of 61% since December 2019. For those aged between 65 and 89 years, the additional 2,000 rupees will represent an increase of 77% in their pensions since December 2019. So it is clear that our consideration for the elderly is not simply a question of catching up with inflation rate, but giving them the means for raising their standard of living and the quality of life. Mr. Speaker, sir, I mentioned earlier the introduction of the minimum wage. The House would know very well that some workers were earning as low as 1,500 rupees per month during the Labour PMSD government. That you have to acknowledge. Why don't you say that? And today the same workers are earning at least 11,075 rupees per month. And due to the measures in the budget, they will now earn an extra 1,000 rupees. So taken together, this represents a substantial increase in income of these workers from the time the minimum wage was introduced. By so doing, we have corrected a major injustice in our society. And on top of all this, Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget is increasing the take-home pay for thousands of taxpayers by lowering income tax from 15% to 12.5% for those earning more than 53,846 rupees and up to 75,000 rupees monthly, and to 10% for those earning between 25,000 rupees and 53,846 rupees monthly. In recent years, we have made significant progress in lifting up the standard of living and quality of life for families with modest incomes. The social progress we have been experiencing as a nation cannot be denied. In fact, in 2020, Mauritius, for the very first time, joined the League of Countries with a very high Human Development Index, as measured by the UNDP. Not as measured by MSM, by our government, or by any however partisan, as the opposition used to say, by the UNDP. What this index says, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that the wealth that we have been creating as a nation has not only increased our per capita income, but has also generated genuine social progress. And had it not been for the COVID-19 pandemic, Mauritius would have still remained a high-income economy. And that also for the first time we have reached that level. Mr. Speaker, sir, the constant care and support we have been giving to the population since 2014, especially to those in the lower income brackets, prove the leader of the opposition wrong when he says, trop peu, trop tard. In fact, when he was busy to concoct an alliance within the opposition and trying, of course, as usual, to play some cheap politics on every unfortunate happening beyond the control of government, we have been addressing the challenges faced by our people and our economy. While they fleeced the population to the bones during the 2005-2009 period with numerous taxes, I won't go into them, they have been mentioned by different orators on government side, when there was no situation similar to COVID-19, no situation similar to the impact that we are facing with Russia-Ukraine war, we in this government managed to come up with measures to alleviate the burden of the people while gearing up our economy for a rebound. The leader of the opposition and some other members on the other side stated that the 1,000 rupees being given to pensioners and workers will quickly disappear with inflation. But what they refrain from saying is that any rise of inflation will also be compensated adequately after tripartite discussions at the end of the year. This has been the practice under this government. And unlike the Labour PMSD government of 2005-2009, that created, this is also history, Mr. Speaker, sir. They created the National Pay Council to rob workers of their dues in terms of salary compensation. We in government have been compensating workers more than the inflation rate every year since 2014. This year itself, as from January, a salary compensation of 500 rupees, representing 5% increase is being paid to those earning up to 13,000 rupees per month. While the rate of inflation for 2021 was 4%. Those earning above 13,000 rupees have benefited from a salary compensation of 400 rupees. We did that despite the difficult situation we are faced with. And then, Mr. Speaker, sir, what pains me when I heard some members saying that the rate of inflation that has been calculated and that is published regularly by statistics is not reflective of the situation. It pains me a lot, because how demagogical can you be when each one of them, their party, I mean, not the members, they have been in government previously. They have had the same institution, the same method of calculating inflation, the same figures that have been regularly, annually published and relied upon, not only by international institutions, by the different governments. Now, today, they have the cheek to say and to question the actual rate that is regularly published, and by independent institutions. It's a real shame. And as a caring government, we have maintained the welfare state, free travel for our seniors and students, the payment of the end-of-year bonus, and we paid the 2021 PRB in toto. It is good to highlight that in this budget, sums allocated to social security, education and health have reached 46.4 billion rupees. 18 billion and 14.6 billion rupees respectively. Monsieur le Président, les membres de l'opposition parlementaire et extra-parlementaire nagent en pleine contradiction. Alors qu'ils prétendent que le pays se trouve dans une situation de banqueroute, ils disent en même temps que le gouvernement dispose de suffisamment de ressources financières pour donner plus. Which is which, I don't know. Parce que si on est en état de banqueroute, on ne peut plus donner. Au contraire, il faut diminuer les dépenses. Mais la démagogie saute aux yeux. Et le peuple, j'en suis sûr, sait apprécier que ce gouvernement fait le maximum dans le contexte très, très, très difficile. De plus, quand le leader de l'opposition dit lui-même que la crise internationale, et je cite, il a dit « la crise internationale ne fait que commencer ». Il doit savoir qu'un gouvernement responsable, donc, a le devoir d'utiliser judicieusement les ressources financières à sa disposition pour faire face à d'autres urgences qui peuvent surgir. Mais il faut que nos compatriotes, surtout les vrais patriotes, comprennent le vrai agenda de l'opposition et les autres différents groupuscules extra-parlementaires aussi. Ils n'ont toujours pas digéré la défaite aux dernières élections générales, et j'en passe. Ça a été largement commenté par plusieurs orateurs. Tout ce qu'ils veulent, c'est déstabiliser le gouvernement par tous les moyens. Je dis bien, et je ne pèse pas mes mots, par tous les moyens, en ayant même recours à des actions sectaires. D'ailleurs, le leader de l'opposition confirme cet agenda diabolique quand il dit, et je cite, « l'opposition dans son ensemble ne va pas hésiter à descendre dans la rue. Hein? Mais, Monsieur le Président, après avoir essayé, c'est pourquoi je préfère ne pas commenter longuement. Et bien sûr que je souscris entièrement aux commentaires qui ont été faits par l'honorable Colin Davelou, par le député Pravind Jugnauth et d'autres sur les pétitions électorales qui ont été entrées par toute l'opposition. Et jusqu'à présent, ils ont, comment on dit, fait. Mais fait, Monsieur le Président. On peut faillir. Moi, je sais à l'époque, quand parfois, si c'est 50 points le passe-marque, on peut arriver à 49, on peut arriver à 48, mais on fait avec honneur. Mais quand on fait avec -0, ils ont été bottés par la Cour suprême. Maintenant, et ce qui est triste encore une fois pour le pays, quand on est botté, quand on a eu ces revers par la Cour suprême, non seulement maintenant ils s'attaquent à la commission électorale, à l'Electoral Supervisory Commission. L'honorable Boulel a demandé la démission de ces deux présidents de ces deux institutions. Oui, il approuve encore plus. Même aujourd'hui, il demande ses démissions. Mais ils ont le culot de s'attaquer à la Cour suprême. Hein? Dans ma carrière politique, Monsieur le Président, vous allez voir, parfois j'ai eu des revers en cours, mais des revers en cours inférieure. Puis j'ai gagné. Et j'ai gagné des affaires par la plus haute cour, le Privy Council. Mais jamais, même que j'ai eu un revers en cour suprême, en cour intermédiaire, c'était la cour intermédiaire, j'ai jamais pointé du doigt les magistrats, le jugement ou le judiciaire. Jamais. Même que je peux ne pas être d'accord avec certaines décisions, je ne vais pas mentionner ces institutions, mais allons dire certaines institutions indépendantes. Je peux ne pas être d'accord, mais jamais je leur ai pointé du doigt, les critiquer. Mais, comme l'a si bien dit, l'a si bien décrit mon collègue, le député Prime Minister, à quel niveau est tombée toute l'opposition aujourd'hui? C'est terrible. Mais, Monsieur le Président, il faut faire attention parce que la rue, Monsieur le Président, appartient aussi à ces milliers d'hommes et de femmes qui continuent à faire confiance à mon gouvernement. Hein? Je demande à l'opposition de prendre garde, car cette masse silencieuse ne permettra pas à ce que le pays bascule dans l'anarchie. Certaines doivent réaliser qu'il serait maladroit d'interpréter la tolérance de la majorité de notre population comme une faiblesse. Monsieur le Président, concernant les allégations de brutalité ou torture policière, j'ai répondu au leader de l'opposition lors de la PNQ de mercredi dernier et il y a certains comme l'honorable Boulel qui peut-être ne vit pas à Maurice ou bien s'il vit à Maurice, il n'écoute pas, certainement peut-être il n'écoute pas il ne regarde pas les informations, qu'est-ce qui se passe à Maurice. J'espère, enfin, je le comprends s'il ne suit pas mes discours. Ça se comprend. Mais seulement, renseignez-vous au moins avant de venir débiter n'importe quoi dans cette chambre. Vous dites que je n'ai rien dit. Je n'ai rien dit. Bon, je ne vais pas vous rappeler tout de suite après lors d'une intervention que j'ai faite publiquement, j'ai condamné. Bien sûr, j'ai dit que j'étais choqué de voir de telles vidéos et que j'ai condamné. Et après, il y avait le passing out parade. C'était l'occasion, au contraire, une occasion vraiment exceptionnelle pour moi de passer un message et de dire ce que j'avais à dire à ceux qui vont joindre qui ont été recrutés par la force policière. Donc, Monsieur le Président, laissez-moi réitérer l'engagement de mon gouvernement qu'aucun acte de torture ou atteinte aux droits humains ne sera toléré. Les brebis galeuses qui entachent l'image de la police seront certainement mises à leur place. En même temps, je réitère ma confiance dans la force policière qui a un travail colossal pour maintenir l'ordre et la paix dans le pays. Monsieur le Président, cela étant dit, je ne m'attendrai pas sur les arguments futiles d'une opposition foncièrement malhonnête. Je vais consacrer la suite de mon intervention aux effets escomptés des mesures concrètes contenues dans le budget et ayant trait à l'économie. Aussi, je vais élaborer sur les actions et initiatives des départements et organisations se trouvant sous ma responsabilité. Mr. Speaker, sir, in 2020, our country experienced its worst economic contraction in recent history. However, thanks to the policies and measures that we have taken, we have seen early shoots of economic recovery in 2021 itself, in spite of the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic was still around and even caused a second lockdown. Since February this year, the combined effect of the war and the continuing pandemic has heightened the need for our country to reduce its dependence on the outside world. The surging inflation that we are experiencing is an example of the kind of impact that such external shocks can have on our economy and society. Moreover, we also have to deal with another external shock, which is the impact of climate change. All these challenges we are facing today justify fully the strategy of ushering in a new era of import substitution. I am satisfied that the budget presented this year puts us solidly on the path to move towards greater self-sufficiency in food and energy. It is, in fact, the commitment and determination of this government to implement measures, policies, and projects that will deliver on the goals of self-sufficiency in these two areas before 2030. Mr. Speaker, sir, the measures announced will go a long way towards achieving our goals. I must add here that the success of our import substitution strategy will completely transform the architecture of our economy. It is not only about the serenity that it will bring about in terms of reduced dependence on the outside world for our basic necessities, but also about the associated economic benefits that the strategy will bring. The renewable energy industry, the domestic food sector, clearly offer multiple substantial benefits to the economy and society, including, amongst others, reduced dependence on import, less exposure to international price shocks, and therefore lower risks of imported inflation. In the case of energy, a shift from fossil fuel to green energy, in line with the Green Mauritius vision, the potential for creating waste-to-energy systems, thereby significantly improving efficiency in solid waste management. Further diversification of the economy into higher value-added activities, positive impact on the country's foreign currency reserves, an important lifeline to the declining sugar industry through the use of biomass from the sugar factories and alternative use of land for food production, a means to foster the reindustrialization process and boost up the manufacturing sector, and a boost to investment, in particular private investment, and the creation of higher earning employment opportunities, amongst others. Mr. Speaker, sir, in an extraordinarily challenging moment for people and businesses, the budget is expected to deliver substantial job creation, economic activity, and a transformative recovery that embraces digitalization, the green transition, and food security. It will also propel recovery, reignite development in each region, improve our product and service offering, drive investment while continuing development of our most valuable asset, that is our people. It will also provide the strength, resilience, and agility to our companies, SMEs, and businesses to respond to a changing global environment. It will create opportunities for sustainable growth, facilitate the regional value chain integration, and bring in more innovation and create employment opportunities. And I need here to mention the introduction of the prime à l'emploi, a novel mechanism to encourage the recruitment of young people aged between 18 and 35 and women aged up to 50 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, the budget gives us the confidence that the import substitution strategy, the recovery of the tourism sector, and accelerating growth in emerging sectors will put the economy on a higher long-term growth path. I am also confident that the young people of this country and new entrepreneurs will take up the challenge of innovation, which is the key to shaping the future Mauritius. A Mauritius where the economy and society will be driven by latest technologies such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, fintech, and blockchain. We are also pursuing investment in infrastructure to modernize our socio-economic setup and respond to the expectations of every stakeholder. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to government's management of the COVID-19 crisis, it is an undeniable fact that both the World Health Organization and the World Bank have commended our response to contain the spread of the virus in our republic and protect lives and livelihoods. Indeed, my government has spared no effort in combating the pandemic since the detection of the first cases in Mauritius on 18th of March 2020. The High-Level Committee on COVID-19, which was instituted on 31st January 2020, met almost on a daily basis and has so far held over 375 meetings under my chair. The committee has been effective in managing the pandemic in Mauritius, as evidenced by the drastic decrease in the number of cases. The committee is still closely monitoring the situation in the wake of new subvariants. The committee is also monitoring the situation of monkeypox across the world and is ensuring that precautionary measures are taken at ports of entry to safeguard the population against that disease, and adequate test kits and medication are available. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Mauritius Police Force has embarked on a series of reforms for improving the quality of its services, and in this endeavor, a police strategic plan 2022-2025 has been worked out, which hinges on key concepts of service delivery, community safety, partnership, crime prevention and reduction, disaster preparedness and response, territorial, physical, and cyber security, and enhance professionalism in this increasingly digital world. My government is doing whatever it takes to equip the police force to better fulfill its mandate. And during the financial year 2021-2022, 885 police officers have been recruited and 1,165 have been promoted. Moreover, the Mauritius Police Force has embarked on a number of projects, namely the construction of the Mauritius Discipline Forces Academy, acquisition of a passenger variant Dornier aircraft, acquisition of an advanced light helicopter make Druve, implementation of a new coastal surveillance radar system, the acquisition of additional speedboats and light armored personnel carriers, construction of a new National Coast Guard Command Center, and installation of additional safe city cameras. Mr. Speaker, sir, since its coming into operation in 2019, the Safe City project has been of considerable assistance to the Mauritius Police Force. The number of cases being elucidated with the help of these devices proves the efficacy of the equipment in combating crime. In order to respond to emerging needs of the police and ensure that our law enforcement agencies are adequately staffed and trained, a plot of land of 28.5 acres at Côte d'Or has been earmarked for the construction of the Mauritius Discipline Forces Academy. This academy will provide a common training platform for the whole discipline forces, and the construction of the academy is expected to start in March 2023 to be completed by March 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Maritime Air Squadron provides critical emergency services to the islands of Agaliga and Rodrigues. The squadron was equipped with 2 Dornier aircrafts to undertake the multifarious roles assigned to it, including surveillance, search, and rescue. However, due to their load limitation and to meet new exigencies, a new passenger variant Dornier has been purchased in April 2022 from Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. This aircraft has many advantages, whereby the cabin can be used for ferrying of voluminous loads and more passengers. The police helicopter squadron, on its part, is being strengthened with the acquisition of a Druve helicopter, which has the capability to fly at night. The delivery is expected by the end of 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the existing coastal surveillance radar system dates back to 2011. Hence, a new system is being implemented with the assistance of Government of Japan and will comprise new radars, automatic identification system, and other associated equipment of latest technology. Mr. Speaker, sir, to reinforce our surveillance and maritime operations, new high-speed patrol boats are also being acquired from Japan, with delivery expected in December 2022 and May 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the public is aware of the crusade of my government against drug trafficking and drug dealers. For the year 2021 only, the ADSU has seized 4.7 billion rupees worth of dangerous drugs, including synthetic drugs, with the collaboration of the Mauritius Revenue Authority. Mr. Speaker, sir, following the report of the Commission of Inquiry on Drug Trafficking, my government took the pledge to implement the recommendations contained therein. And this is what we are doing. out of the 390 recommendations made, we have already implemented 66% of them as at March 2022. This is testimony of our commitment to fight this scourge. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is expected that the implementation of most of the recommendations in the report would be completed by the end of year 2023. And let me say also this, because sometimes, people, comme on dit, ils n'ont pas, peut-être, ils ont trop de toupet pour venir nous accuser, comme quoi nous ne faisons rien contre le problème de la drogue. But let me only say one thing. Why is it that when systematically the opposition from 2005 to 2014, and when I say the opposition, both the MSM, the MMM at that time, were asking the then Labour PMSD government to set up a commission of inquiry on drug trafficking, that the then Prime Minister systematically refused to set up a commission of inquiry. Why is it? The only irresistible conclusion that I can come to is because they were trying to protect and tolerate those mafias and those traffickers. And that is why. Yes, but why? Why is it? You have to tell the people 2005, 2014, we knew what was the situation with regard to drugs in this country. On était en train de vendre comme des petits pâtés. And then there was no reason, there was no justification to set up a commission of inquiry, at least. Whom did you want to protect? That is the question.
Please, you don't have the right to do that.
If you want, I can make certain revelations in this parliament. Huh? If you want to know about what happened prior to the Kisna case, you want to know?
Continue.
Let me continue. We'll keep that for some other time. Probably another PNQ that comes on drug, then you will see. Yeah. Yes, most welcome. Anytime. Anytime.
No
Yes.
conversation. Please allow the Prime Minister to continue with his speech. Temple of democracy.
So, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I say, of course, we have looked at the recommendations, all the recommendations that have been made by former Justice Lam Shanglin. And as I say, most of them, in fact, most of them will be implemented. Of course, there are some of those recommendations which we consider not really feasible. And I have answered, and one of them which I answered during the PNQ of the Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Mr. Speaker, sir, as chairperson of the High-Level Drugs and HIV Council, I am personally investing in the fight against drug abuse and drug trafficking. The anti-drug message is being taken to the schools, training institutions, and the community to protect our youngsters and teens. This budget is therefore making provision for the setting up of community welfare task forces in several localities in order to enhance drug prevention in the community. In this context, the National Drug Secretariat is collaborating with the Citizen Support Unit in its communication campaigns to sensitize the citizens about the drug scourge. We are also adopting a more humane approach to drug offenders with the setting up of a drug offenders administrative panel with a view to diverting people who use drugs from the criminal justice system to rehabilitation and treatment. Furthermore, in our resolve to combat illegal activities in the country, under Section 4 of the United Nations Financial Prohibitions, Arms Embargo and Travel Ban Sanctions Act, a National Sanctions Committee has been set up to implement targeted sanctions with a view to addressing threats of terrorism, terrorism financing, and proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the same vein, a state-of-the-art forensic science laboratory complex will be constructed with the assistance of the Government of India, including the acquisition of high-tech laboratory equipment to improve turnaround time and precision for analysis. Providing forensic services according to international norms and standards is key for the proper administration of justice. As such, I welcome the budgetary provision made for the construction of a building and acquisition of equipment to enable the Forensic Science Laboratory to upgrade its forensic services. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Mauritius Prison Service is a key player in our criminal justice system. To that effect, government remains firmly committed towards capacity building of the prisons department through transformation, acquisition of modern equipment, and training. Furthermore, 35 portable cell phone jammers have been acquired for the different prisons to block illegal communication through mobile phones by detainees. Security level of each prison is being reinforced, and the Beaubassin Central Prison has been equipped with a full-body security scanner used to detect prohibited articles, including drugs, metal, and non-metal objects concealed inside body cavity of detainees. In view of the success of this equipment, an amount of 18 million rupees is being allocated for the installation of 2 body scanners at the Eastern High Security Prison and the Grand River Northwest Remand Prison. Detainees have the potential for change, and in this respect, the Mauritius Prison Service has signed memoranda of understanding with several organizations, including the Ministry of Agro-Industry and Food Security and the Mauritius Institute of Training and Development, with a view to enable detainees to acquire skills that they can use once they are released. Accordingly, an additional 17 acres of land has been vested in the prisons department at the Eastern High Security Prison to allow vegetable production by trained detainees. Mr. Speaker, sir, with the proclamation of the Children's Act in January 2022, government is more than ever committed to act in the best interests of children, to provide a better environment for children with behavioral concerns. Government will accommodate them in new child-friendly buildings. An initial amount of 2 million rupees is being allocated for the upgrading of probation institutions. Moreover, a sum of 6 million rupees is being allocated to help the children in receiving the best care and support so that they become law-abiding citizens. Furthermore, to facilitate the rehabilitation process and create a sense of community living among inmates of the Rehabilitation Youth Center, a small home project is being implemented at the RYC Girls at an estimated cost of 16.4 million rupees. Mr. Speaker, sir, this government is determined to keep abreast of technological advancements in all fields in line with international trends. In this perspective, we are envisaging to shift from the current format of Mauritius passports to move to the next generation of electronic passports, that is, e-passports, and provision has been made in the budget accordingly. The new passport will enhance security, integrity, privacy, and authenticity of data and personal information, and will enable a smooth flow of passengers at the immigration zone with less time for clearance. Mr. Speaker, sir, additionally, we are also working on the revamping of the Mauritius National Identity Card system. There have been lots of comments on this project, and today let me seize this opportunity to provide some clarifications. The Mauritius National Identity Card scheme was implemented in Mauritius in 2013, when the then government shifted from the plastic laminated card to a smart card with chip in line with international standards. The project was implemented under a government-to-government agreement between the Republic of Mauritius and the Republic of Singapore at a cost of approximately 1.1 billion rupees. I don't need to make any comment on that. I think we can recall under what circumstances, in what way, how this was done. But anyway, we keep it for some other time. The project required the conversion of all laminated ID cards to smart cards. The Mauritius National Identity Card system will reach 10 years next year. And like every IT system, the hardware and software will soon be obsolete. And support services and spare parts will no longer be available due to evolution in technology. It is for these reasons that we have earmarked funds for the revamping of the Mauritius National Identity Card system. We propose to come up with a state-of-the-art technology with enhanced features and which may be used to provide a wider spectrum of customized e-services to the Mauritian citizens. Mr. Speaker, sir, the port and aviation sectors will continue to play a vital role in the economic development of the country, as they are the only gateways for the import and export of goods and transportation and handling of passengers, including tourists. In order to enhance port efficiency and security, the MPA has already embarked on the implementation of a number of projects, such as adoption of new technologies and the use of renewable energy sources, installation of CCTV cameras and access control system, procurement of oil spill combat equipment, chartering of 1 additional tug, and procurement of 4 small tugs. Other projects in the pipeline include the implementation of a lighter version of the maritime single window to cater for vessel clearance at Port Louis Harbour, costing around 15 million rupees, and the review of the port master plan, especially taking into consideration the impact of the pandemic and the resulting economic downturn which has disrupted the global logistic chain. Mr. Speaker, sir, we are also expecting the cruise tourism sector to regain some momentum, with some 10 cruise vessels projected to call at Port Louis Harbour in year 2022-2023, especially with the commissioning of the new cruise terminal building at Les Salines by end of this year. The aviation sector has also been strongly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, but with the gradual recovery of international travel and tourism, it is now being called upon to sustain economic growth. Development of the tourism sector will hinge largely on the adaptability of the aviation industry to generate the necessary seat capacity in the short, medium, and long terms through a well-planned strategy involving Air Mauritius, the national carrier, as well as other airlines. Mauritius is opening its skies gradually with the diverse number of airlines serving Mauritius from key tourist sources. Our strategy is to attract as many airlines under the different bilateral air services agreements and memoranda of understanding which Mauritius has signed with some 65 countries. Mr. Speaker, sir, in this national budget exercise, we cannot forget our brothers and sisters of the Chagos Archipelago. The advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice of 25th February 2019, the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 73/295 of 22nd of May 2019, and the judgment of the Special Chamber of the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea of 28th January 2021 have made it clear that the Chagos Archipelago forms an integral part of the territory of Mauritius. The resolution, which was adopted by the Universal Postal Union in August last, to formally acknowledge that the Chagos Archipelago forms part of the territory of Mauritius and to stop recognizing stamps purportedly issued by the so-called British Indian Ocean Territory, has further reinforced our recognized sovereignty over that part of our territory. However, the United Kingdom continues to illegally occupy the Chagos Archipelago in total disregard of the rulings of the International Court of Justice and the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea and the United Nations General Assembly resolution. Last February, government organized a historic visit to the Chagos Archipelago in the context of their scientific survey of Blenheim Reef. The visit, which was highly successful, allowed us to collect crucial data for the maritime delimitation case, which Mauritius has brought against Maldives under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Apart from enabling Mauritius to assert its sovereignty over the Chagos Archipelago, the visit provided the opportunity for some of our citizens of Chagosian origin to return to their birthplace from which they were forcibly removed by the United Kingdom. The visit also received a significant coverage at the international level. As I have already informed the House, government intends to organize other visits to the Chagos Archipelago. We will relentlessly pursue our struggle to complete our decolonization process and to enable Mauritius to fully and effectively exercise its sovereignty over the Chagos Archipelago. Government also remains committed to implementing a program for resettlement in the Chagos Archipelago. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this juncture, I will fail in my duty if I do not pay homage to late Pravind Jugnauth for his relentless fight and determination for the return of the Chagos Archipelago to Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, the development of Rodrigues has always been high on the agenda of this government, as evidenced by the number of development projects being implemented in collaboration with the Rodrigues Regional Assembly with a view to modernizing the island and improving the standard of living of our Rodriguan brothers and sisters. In order to ensure that all the appropriate conditions prevail for the sustainable socio-economic development of the island, there is indeed an urgent need to review and update the 10-year Sustainable and Integrated Development Plan for Rodrigues Report of 2009 in the light of the changing environment of the island. Following a request from the Rodrigues Regional Assembly, the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development has sought the assistance of the European Union to access the Technical Cooperation Facility for the mobilization of the required expertise to revamp the development plan for Rodrigues. The contract for consultancy services for this project would require the updating of the tourism development plan for Rodrigues, which in fact dates back to 2001, and updating the 2010 Rodrigues Physical Development Strategy and Land Use Plan. The exercise would be completed by the first quarter of 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, in order to address the long-standing water shortage in Rodrigues, and as announced in the budget speech, an amount of 1 billion rupees will be invested in desalination plants by the Mauritius Investment Corporation. Additionally, an amount of 36.3 million rupees has been provided in the budget of the Rodrigues Regional Assembly for the construction and upgrading of reservoirs, dams, and boreholes. As part of the transformational development of the island, a new runway at Korai Airport will be constructed, and provision has been made in the budget for an amount of around 4 billion rupees for the project over the next 3 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, additionally, a technopark is being constructed at Baladiru to promote entrepreneurship and employment in the field of ICT. An amount of 125 million rupees is being provided for the completion of this project in early 2023. Moreover, to further boost up economic development in the island, it is also imperative to address the issue of the cost of freight between Mauritius and Rodrigues. In this respect, the 20% rebate on the cost of freight between Mauritius and Rodrigues announced last year is being maintained. To increase competitiveness of local manufacturing products, exports from Rodrigues to Mauritius will also benefit from the freight rebate scheme and the trade promotion and marketing scheme. An amount of 20 million rupees is being provided under the budget of the Ministry of Agro-Industry and Food Security for the operationalization of a slaughterhouse. The existing building at Bediamant will be refurbished and equipped to allow the slaughtering of cattle, goat, and sheep according to norms. An amount of 5 million rupees has also been earmarked under the budget of the Ministry of Agro-Industry for the extension of all schemes for the agricultural and livestock sector to Rodrigues. Furthermore, with a view to supporting the tourism industry in Rodrigues, the subsidy on special Rodrigues holiday package and subsidy on airfare will be extended to up to September 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, to enable the island to achieve its development goals, a total grant of 4.790 billion rupees is being provided to the Rodrigues Regional Assembly in the forthcoming financial year. This is inclusive of an amount of 100 million rupees from the COVID-19 Projects Development Fund for the construction of 30 kilometers of track roads and 60 million rupees from the National Environment and Climate Change Fund for the implementation of environmental projects. Mr. Speaker, sir, my government has adhered the sustainable development of all islands of our republic. And with this budget, my government is focused on bringing development to Agalega in a greener and more environment-friendly manner. The installation of solar lights at strategic places in Agalega shows the vision of a responsible government which is steadfast in its commitment to shift to renewable energy sources for the benefit of its citizens. My government is keen to develop the fishing sector in Agalega, and to that end, the Ministry of Blue Economy has carried out a survey in order to develop and promote the fishing sector. The closeness of the Saya de Mala and Nazareth banks with Agalega is a non-negligible factor for the development of the fishing sector, coupled with the realization of the airstrip and jetty projects. This government is mindful of the intrinsic problems faced by our citizens in Agalega due to its smallness, remoteness, and frail ecosystems, lack of transport and communication facilities. Notwithstanding all these constraints, we are determined to bring development at the doorsteps of citizens in Agalega. Moreover, we have received the assistance of Afcons Limited as part of its CSR to implement several projects for the benefit of all citizens in Agalega. Besides, other projects have already been implemented under its Community Development and Social Outreach Program, namely road improvement, provision of water supply in primary school, construction of a football ground, an open gymnasium, and renovation of a church, amongst others. Mr. Speaker, sir, the development of activities linked to our exclusive economic zone remains a top priority for my government. It is therefore of paramount importance that our maritime zones are properly managed. The Offshore Petroleum Act has been passed in December 2021, and this shows our commitment to modernize our legislative frameworks so that they are in line with the current international trends whilst ensuring the protection of the environment. My government is mindful that to facilitate the process of exploration and exploitation of our maritime zones and resources, it is essential to upgrade our surveying capabilities. As such, budgetary provision has been made for the Department for Continental Shelf, Maritime Zones Administration and Exploration to carry out its survey activities, which will shed more light on the latent potential of our vast maritime territory. Mr. Speaker, sir, on 24th of May 2022, the National Environment Cleaning Authority Bill was passed in the National Assembly. Procedures are ongoing for the proclamation of the Act. The Act provides for the setting up of a National Environment Cleaning Authority, which will be an apex institution responsible for the development and implementation of a national cleaning strategy with an action plan for the island of Mauritius. An amount of 16 million rupees is being provided to kickstart the setting up of the authority. Mr. Speaker, sir, fighting the scourge of gender-based violence remains a top priority for my government. In fact, I'm chairing the high-level committee for the elimination of gender-based violence that provides me with the opportunity to personally take stock of the current situation, the measures being taken, and to consider further options in addressing this issue. The National Strategy and Action Plan for the Elimination of Gender-Based Violence is being implemented to address all existing lacunas which may give rise to gender-based violence. The L'Espoir mobile app is an overwhelming success and is contributing in saving the lives of victims in distress. There is still a long way to go, I must admit, but nothing can divert our trajectory as we seek to tackle this national issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the measures announced in the budget speech is that the basic widow pension will be extended to Muslim widows through tardy registration of religious marriage before the Muslim Family Council. Members of the House know that this is a long-standing issue. We are addressing it in a way we believe is just and feasible. The House may rest assured that we have looked into the legal side of it, and we will be acting accordingly through appropriate amendments to the Civil Status Act. And again, and again some members of the opposition who have been in government for 2005 to 2014, nothing has been done. Nothing has been done. And now, when we are giving a fair treatment, we are giving the opportunity for a fair treatment, on est en train de rétablir la justice pour all those women. Now, some of them are saying, well, it's not enough. We should be doing more. Nothing you have done, you, in the past. So, toujours la démagogie. Ben, Monsieur le Président, in our endeavor to facilitate public service delivery and to encourage citizens' participation, access to the Citizen Support Portal is being enhanced through new initiatives being introduced by the Citizen Support Unit. In August 2021, the unit's mobile app was launched with the objective to improve connectivity for citizen engagement by reaching out to every single Mauritian. In collaboration with the Ministry of Information, Technology, Communication and Innovation, the development of a government chatbot is in the pipeline, which would embody my government's vision for a transition towards higher digitalization of public services and higher connectivity. Access to public services within a click is our end goal. Mr. Speaker, sir, in our endeavor to modernize every aspect of socio-economic activity in our country, my government also wishes to endow the country with a state-of-the-art racecourse and entertainment complex in Côte d'Or. To that end, the Côte d'Or International Racecourse and Entertainment Complex Limited will spearhead a design, build and operate new state-of-the-art racecourse and entertainment project under the public-private partnership framework. This new infrastructure will not only provide our population and visitors with an entertainment venue of excellence, but will also set the stage for the development of a broader equine sector. The horse racing industry has entered a new era, with regulatory and governance functions falling under the horse racing division of the Gambling Regulatory Authority. Integrity, transparency, and adoption of the best international practices in horse racing will henceforth be the guiding mantras for all stakeholders concerned. This new era is underpinned by the democratization of the organization of horse racing, as there will not be any monopolistic situation anymore. I must emphasize that through the GRA HRD, government is injecting some 95 million rupees annually in this industry to ensure its sustainability. Monsieur le Président, je souhaite dire à la Chambre que plus jamais un organisateur des courses ne va prendre l'industrie hippique en otage. Plus jamais certains ne vont se liguer pour agir comme un État dans un État. Nous mettons de l'ordre dans les courses hippiques et assurons sa pérennité. Cette industrie a un énorme potentiel économique. Elle ne peut demeurer l'apanage d'un petit groupe qui a fait la pluie et le beau temps pendant trop longtemps. Je ne suis pas surpris par la réaction des députés du MMM, les honorables Bagwan et Kirin en particulier, dans leurs attaques gratuites contre la Gambling Regulatory Authority et aussi contre le gouvernement. De par leurs commentaires, on peut comprendre que ces donneurs de leçons s'opposent à ce que la mafia mentionnée dans le rapport Paris puisse être mise au pas. Ils s'opposent à ce qu'il y ait une fin à ces pratiques hautement préjudiciables et dénoncées pendant des décennies par des différents partenaires de l'industrie hippique. Le MMM réagit parce que, Je l'ai dit dans une récente intervention au Parlement. Des pactoles sont en jeu. Ces pactoles qui arrivent dans les caisses du MMM régulièrement, de leurs copains liés aux courses hippiques, sont vitaux pour assurer la pérennité du parti. Sans les leviers dont disposaient certains pour faire de l'argent sur le dos des tuafistes, ces pactoles ne seront plus disponibles. C'est cela qui heurte le MMM. C'est cela qui explique les états d'âme du député Bhagwan. Il est important, Monsieur le Président, de dénoncer encore une fois l'hypocrisie du MMM par rapport à plusieurs dossiers. Monsieur le Président, je vais poser une seule question. Peut-être l'honorable Bhagwan et le MMM pourra nous dire quel mécanisme a été utilisé pour qu'un monsieur J.M.D. Non, monsieur J.M.G. qui a utilisé une compagnie. Quel mécanisme a été utilisé pour faire entrer dans la caisse du MMM le financement? Répondez. Si vous êtes honnête, dites à la population, et c'est pourquoi je dis, il est important de dénoncer, encore une fois, l'hypocrisie du MMM par rapport à plusieurs dossiers. D'ailleurs, le MMM prétend qu'il milite contre le trafic de drogue. Mais qu'avons-nous vu ces derniers temps? Ce même MMM, les honorables membres de ce parti, et pas les moindres, l'honorable Outim, qui est venu défendre ici. Qui est venu défendre ici.
Order, this is democracy. This is democracy. You are out of order. You are out of order. You are out of order. You don't have the floor. You don't have the floor. You don't have the floor. You have to remain quiet. And if you continue, you have to walk out. Last warning. This is a temple of democracy. You made your speech. The Honorable Prime Minister has a right, the constitutional right to reply. Let him reply. Please continue.
If you are not agreeable, take a point of order. Moi, je dis, tout le monde, la population a vu ici, heureusement qu'il y a le live broadcasting, comment l'honorable Outim est venu défendre un trafiquant de drogue dans cette auguste assemblée. Je fais référence aux Slovaques condamnés à 22 ans de prison pour de sérieux délits de drogue, des drogues d'une valeur marchande d'environ 700 millions de roupies. Ce criminel a été repris du territoire mauricien par les autorités de son pays. Et la même hypocrisie, Monsieur le Président, on la voit sur le dossier hippique. Dois-je rappeler que la commission d'enquête sur les courses hippiques instituée en 2014 trouve son origine dans les discussions que l'ancien Premier ministre avait eues avec celui qui se présente comme le copain de l'honorable Paul-Raymond Béranger, leader du MMM. Je parle de ce monsieur que j'avais fait référence, JMG. C'était du temps de cause causée entre le MMM et le Parti travailliste. Là, il n'y a pas, je ne sais pas s'il y a cause causée, un rendez-vous, il n'arrive pas à avoir. Rendez-vous. Voilà où est tombé le MMM. Ils sont en train de supplier le chef du Parti travailliste pour avoir, pas pour se rapprocher, pour avoir un rendez-vous, s'il vous plaît. Et en créole, on dit « un baiser là ». Peut-être que le leader du PMSD ne sait pas, mais il peut vérifier dans l'Alliance de l'Espoir.
Order. Now you continue, Prime Minister.
Oui, je disais donc il faut se demander, le premier, alors, le monsieur JMG avait dit à l'ancien Premier ministre qu'il y avait une mafia au pluriel, les mots exacts qu'il avait dit, une mafia au pluriel qui dirige les cours hippiques à Maurice. Et quand le rapport final de la commission d'enquête nous est remis en mars 2015, nous avons constaté à quel point la situation était pourrie et menaçait l'existence même de cette industrie. Nous avons pris connaissance des tenants et aboutissants de cette mafia au pluriel. Et il faut bien se demander qui était au pouvoir quand cette mafia est devenue si puissante. Mais quand on entend les membres du MMM, et certains même au Parti travailliste, qu'en prenant des actions courageuses pour implémenter les recommandations du rapport Paris et combattre cette mafia au pluriel, ce gouvernement a programmé, qu'est-ce qu'il vient de nous dire? Il vient de nous dire que ce gouvernement a programmé la mort du MTC. Hein? On ne peut dénoncer cette hypocrisie, Monsieur le Président. On peut même se demander si le rapport Paris aurait fini dans une poubelle si le Parti travailliste et le MMM avaient gagné les élections générales en 2014 et formé le gouvernement. Au vu de leur position aujourd'hui, il est clair qu'ils n'auraient pas agi comme nous l'avons fait, sans peur et sans visière. Monsieur le Président, ce gouvernement ne va jamais tolérer aucune mafia, qu'elle soit au sein de l'industrie hippique ou dans d'autres milieux. Nous sommes crédibles et c'est pour cela que les Mauriciens, dans leur grande majorité, nous font confiance, contrairement à l'opposition qui, à travers des différentes prises de position contradictoires, des gesticulations qui ne sont pas crédibles, s'en mêlent dans des contradictions et sa haine viscérale vis-à-vis le gouvernement. Mr. Speaker, sir, if we want to see the transformation which our country is witnessing and the changing landscape with the unending infrastructural development, I invite members of the opposition to take a ride in the metro from Port Louis to Phoenix and shortly to Cupip and Redri. I am sure they will enjoy the ride. Mr. Speaker, sir, with this budget, we are once again proving our commitment as a caring government to support our citizens, our institutions, and our enterprises, despite the very difficult times that we are facing. With the implementation of the measures announced and with the support of the population, I am confident that we can look forward to better days ahead. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me end my intervention with the following quote from Helen Keller, political activist and disability rights advocate from the United States of America. I quote, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much," unquote. Thank you.